I've been filming myself cooking for a long time now, and I just recently started putting more thought and effort into it when I made my YouTube channel last year. Filming myself while cooking is hard. Making sure my lighting is good and my shots are in focus, while at the same time not burning my food, is a very difficult and sometimes frustrating task. I've learned a lot these past couple months, and in this video I'm going to share with you my workflow for filming a cooking video in my apartment. While you're watching this video, feel free to leave comments with some more in-depth questions you might have. I plan to release videos in the future that'll answer those questions, so make sure you subscribe to this channel. So normally, about a day before the shoot, or even the morning of the shoot, I set up all my lights and camera gear. I like to do this earlier because it's definitely a process, and by the time I'm finished, I'm not really in the mood to jump on camera. I found it's best to do it earlier so I have time to relax and get myself in the zone later towards the end of the day. Let me know if you have any questions about any of the camera, lighting, or audio gear that I'm using. I'm definitely planning on putting a video together about all that in the future. I also take this time to clean up the kitchen a bit and knock out all of the shots of all of the individual ingredients. Here's what it's like after it's filmed. We'll also be using 1 cup of distilled white vinegar, a teaspoon of whole peppercorns, 2 bay leaves, 2 tablespoons of cornstarch, and a little bit of water that we'll use. Before filming the actual video, I also like to take time to measure out all my ingredients. I do this so I can quickly get all of the shots out of the way while filming, and I don't need to constantly start and stop the camera or sift through footage of me doing this on camera and cut all of that out later. Taking a little extra time to pre-plan and prepare for your shoot will save you a ton of time when it comes to editing. Leave a comment below if you'd like to learn more about my pre-production process as well, you know, like writing scripts and shot planning and that sort of thing. Once everything's prepared and the sun goes down, I'll get pretty for the camera, power everything up, and then begin filming. So now that I got everything set up, I'm going to shoot just the talking parts of the video. I have a stool down here that I'm just going to leave my phone, and I'll just kind of look down at it, pretty much try and talk as much as I can, as naturally as possible, until I start stumbling up on my words, and then I'll take a second to pause, look down at my notes, and then try again. My goal is I'm going to do the complete video, all the talking. So from the beginning to the end, I'm going to read the whole script, talk about the ingredients, the whole process, and even close out the video. That way I can just focus on the cooking, the plating, take a photo of the finished dish, and then I can eat. I'm going to get this camera set up so it can shoot a cool behind the scenes of me talking, and I'm even going to reference the behind the scenes in this talking part. And yeah, you can kind of see how this whole talking script part is going to look. In this video, I'm going to share with you my chicken adobo recipe. This is by far one of my favorite dishes. I love to make mine extra saucy. In this video, I'm going to share with you my chicken adobo recipe. This is by far one of my favorite dishes. I like to make mine extra saucy, and in this video, I'm going to share with you my chicken adobo recipe. This is by far one of my... Hit the table. I like to make mine extra saucy, and I think it's even better the next day as leftovers. Keeper. I love to post a ton of cooking videos with honestly just great tasting, tried and true recipes that I make not just weekly, but even for special occasions. Damn, I nailed that shit. If you want to match... So once I do all of the talking parts where I'm going to be seen on camera, I'll then move into all of the voiceover parts that are going to be covered up with B-roll. So now the rest of this is just going to be a voiceover. A majority of the rest of this video is going to be voiceover, and it'll be shots of me like cooking and the ingredients. And because I shot all of this stuff already, I can quickly just bang this whole talking part out, and then we can get right into the cooking part. So my ingredients are 1.5 to 2 pounds of chicken parts. I'll literally just read my script right off my phone and just capture the audio, which I'll use later when editing. So now that I have that first part shot, what I'm gonna do is I have to set up my food saver, and that is how I'm going to marinate the meat. So I'm gonna get that set up, and then I'm gonna talk a little bit about that process next. So I'm gonna stop this camera, and then I'll bring the behind the scenes camera with me to show you me setting that up. All right, so in this scene, I'm basically going to be using my food saver. Let me get that real quick. Like I said, I pre-measured all of my ingredients already, so it's gonna be a lot easier for me to just throw all this into this jar later and then get this going for marinade. I'm gonna explain to the viewers on my main camera that they can put it into a big bowl, but then I'm going to mention the food saver because I like to use it to marinate my chicken and other meats like a lot quicker. Also, I'm gonna try and push an affiliate marketing link. That way, if people do end up purchasing one, I get a little kickback. It doesn't cost the viewers any more money, and it doesn't change their buying experience. It's just sort of like an affiliate marketing link that helps me bring income in. So after I do my talking part of this, I'm actually going to switch to my B cam, and that's gonna shoot the more tighter shots and B-roll of me. I'm gonna put the marinade into the jar, and then I'm gonna add the chicken to it. And we'll go into it. Let me read my notes real quick. The first step I'm going to do, maybe what I'll do is I'll introduce this later. I'll put it down here to kind of hide it, and then I'll like pull it out and like, oh, fucking here's the shit. All right, record on this bitch. In a large bowl, you're gonna want to combine a In a large bowl, you're gonna want to combine most of the ingredients and let it marinate for 4 to 6 hours. I'm actually gonna put everything into this mason jar. So now that I got that talking part out of the way, I'm actually gonna set up my B cam over to the side to get a tight shot of the jar and me pouring the ingredients into it. The main thing you don't want to happen is you don't want this camera to be in this other shot. So I'm going to just try and get it as close as possible, but the mic's sticking out of it. I'm gonna bring it back just a little bit. What's great is that I pre-measured all this stuff already, so I don't have to worry about dealing with it while I'm filming. One thing I do like to do is at least try and change the angle up a little bit between maybe each thing. That way it's not just like a jump cut. So I got 1 pour of the soy sauce, which I'll probably cut from this camera, the 2nd pour of the vinegar from this camera. Now I'm just gonna switch the angle to maybe a more close of the garlic going in, and then the bay leaves and peppercorns. Maybe I'll come top down. So now that I got that, I'm gonna bring this camera back, and then I'm just gonna play it safe for the chicken, because I'll have 2 angles for that as well. And then I'm gonna grab some tongs so people don't call me out on some bullshit. I'll add the chicken. Here's what the sequence looks like once it's edited together. I'll start with the cup of soy sauce and vinegar. Then I'm gonna add the garlic, peppercorns, and bay leaves. Last, I'm gonna add the chicken. So after this, I'm gonna go into my little spiel about why I love my food saver, and I would totally recommend getting one. If you're interested in purchasing one, I'll be sure to put a link in the description below. That way you can find one. Good enough. So one thing that I plan to do is later get a cutaway of me putting the container into the refrigerator, and then I'll get another shot of me pulling it from the refrigerator. And now while that's doing its thing, I'm actually gonna read the rest of the script, which I forgot to do, and then also prep the rest of the vegetables. I'm gonna clean this table up first. Once you're ready to start cooking, you'll wanna throw a large wok or Dutch oven on the stove at medium-high heat with some olive oil. Another thing I honestly love to add to this dish is steamed broccoli. And then now that I got majority of all the talking done, and now what I'm gonna do is my closeout. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you enjoyed this, please be sure to give this a like. If you want to see more videos just like this, make sure you spank that subscribe button. And I try and post weekly videos on all things good in food, business, and my life. Aloha. Boom. And there it is. So now I got the whole talking part out of the way. And then my next step is going to be prepping the vegetables, and I'll show you how I get those shots, and then after that we'll move into the cooking section. So I already did my talking part voiceover for the potatoes, but sometimes I try and just do like a live version of it while I'm working on the B-roll stuff. Just that way I can do some maybe cutaways of a more natural talking point instead of me just doing like a really straightforward one. So now that I got these peeled, I'm gonna go ahead and cut these up. I like my potatoes like big chunk pieces, so I'm gonna just make some big rustic chunky cuts. About like this. So I'll just leave these off to the side for now, and then the next thing is we're gonna jump into cooking the chicken. So I already did the voiceover for the rest of the video, so now I just have to focus on the cooking part, and what I'm going to do is move the lights over and get that area set up so we're ready for the cooking section. But before I do that, I'm gonna go ahead and just clean up a little bit, and then we'll move to that next part. All right, so now that the chicken has been marinated, we're gonna go into the cooking part of it. You saw earlier I moved the light closer to the stove, and then right now what I have set up on for the camera setup is going to be an A6400, and I have a Metabone speed booster adapter with a Canon 50 1.2. So what we're gonna do now is we're gonna cook the chicken adobo, and my goal is to film each section of this at a different angle. I mean, I'm only shooting with one focal length, and it's such a close quarters, but there's so many ways that we can, move to the left, move to the right. We can shoot down, we can shoot, lower. I think the main thing I'm trying to go for is just a different perspective per shot. That way it doesn't get boring and we don't have any jump cuts. So I'm just gonna switch things up a bunch while I cook this chicken, and I have no rhyme or rhythm. I'm just gonna do what I think looks best. My camera is shooting manual focus, and yeah, we're just gonna jump right into it. All right, now that I have the shot composed, I'm gonna go ahead and add the olive oil. So here's some real-time footage of me moving my camera around and getting different angles. And here's what that sequence ends up looking like. Don't overcrowd the pan. Just do a couple of pieces at a time. When you're done browning the first batch, take them out and place them back into the marinade or onto another plate. After all the chicken is seared off, you'll add a little bit more oil if you need, and then cook the onions for a couple of minutes till they're soft and translucent. Next, you're going to add the chicken and potatoes to the pot and pour all of the marinade in. Add a little water to bring it up, just almost covering the chicken and vegetables. So this is the shot where I'm gonna put the lid on, and it's easier to put the lid on already and then adjust your focus to where you got your shot lined up, and then just act it out where I'll take the lid off and then I'm gonna put it on. So now that we got everything in the pot, I'm just gonna go ahead and let that cook up, and then we'll move on to the next step. All right, so now that the chicken adobo is done, this is gonna be the scene where we're gonna plate it on a bed of rice. So I'm gonna do my best to lay out a nice little bit of rice on this plate, and then I'm gonna shoot a wide and a tight shot of me taking out some chicken pieces, placing it on top of the rice, and then pouring the broth over it. I'm not gonna shoot myself eating it on camera just yet. What I'm gonna do is try and get a shot of the plated dish that I can use for a thumbnail, And then once I have that, then I'll go into the eating part. While this is doing its thing, I'm gonna scoop some rice onto a plate. After a couple of minutes, you can take the pot off the stove and serve it up. And there it is, people, my chicken adobo recipe. So now that I got all of the shots out of the way, what I'm gonna do is take a photo for the thumbnail, and then after that, I'm gonna get a few more close-ups of me kind of like picking away at the dish to show how tender the meat is, and then to show how done the potatoes are, and basically to kind of touch on the talking points that I mentioned in the script. It goes great with the adobo, and it soaks up the gravy and all the flavors, and it's hella good. Two other popular Filipino dishes that go perfect with chicken adobo is lumpia and pancit. I made videos of both of these, and I'll be sure to put a link in the description below, or maybe I'll have a card pop up somewhere over on this side too. And there it is, folks, my entire filming process. I'll be sure to put a link in the description to the full video so you can check that out. And I think I'm gonna go ahead and put together a behind the scenes of how I edited this whole thing as well. So as you can see, it's a lot more than just hitting record on my camera. And there's a lot of things that you just don't see that are happening behind the scenes as well, like me writing the script and shot planning, as well as uploading the video, researching keywords, creating thumbnails, and all that stuff. It's honestly like running a completely separate business that I'm not even really getting paid for. But honestly, I love doing it. I love shooting video, and I'm super blessed to be able to do cinematography full time. I also love that I have the opportunity to help other people, and I really hope this video helped you as well. You can totally help support me by joining my Patreon. I plan to post exclusive content on there, like more in-depth behind the scenes videos, as well as some vlogs, so you can see some more personal things going on in my daily life as a cinematographer living in Hawaii. Let me know if you have any questions in the comments below, and I'd love to share all the information and experience that I have with you guys. If you found value in this video, make sure you hit that like button, and if you want to see more content just like this, please be sure to subscribe to my channel. Thank you guys so much for watching. Aloha.